Sorry about that, guys. Hello, hi, welcome in. How's everybody doing tonight on this Saturday evening? Beautiful Saturday. Let me know what you guys did today, if you did anything fun, because it was a nice day today. Let me tell you what. I feel like I was just running. So if I sound like I'm out of breath, who knows why? I don't know. You'd think I just smoked like a pack of cigarettes, but I feel like I'm out of breath. I think it's because I was rushing around, but welcome in. Welcome in. If you're new to the channel, I'm Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you're not new, thanks for coming back for another round. I appreciate you. I do. I really, really do. So we'll welcome in some people and then we'll get into tonight's case coverage. How about that? Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Ladybug. Hey, Catherine. Welcome in. Hey, Captain. Yeah, let me know what you guys did what your plans are for the weekend, because I know in Ohio, it's supposed to cool down next week. So this is like our last weekend to really, do whatever we want. Hey, Mary Beth. Welcome in, everybody. Mr. Pookie's Grammy. Betsy, welcome in. Mike, it's good to see ya. Hey, Sirius. I'm just trying to go down through the chat. Hey, Cat's Life. Hey, Graham. I'll go to the bottom. Hey, DM. Hey, Roro. Hey, Wizard. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Michelle. It's good to see you guys. Hey, Dreamcatcher. Well, welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. I got a couple things scheduled for tonight. I don't know if you heard my front door. It makes a little squeaking noise when I won't fix it. I won't fix the door. It alerts me when someone comes in the front door. It's like another wave of defense, We don't need a security alarm here. Got that squeaky door. So I'm going to put on my glasses because I need to wear them because I'm going to do a little reading, but because I need to wear these. But we do have a lot of stuff actually kind of going on in the Idaho 4 case. So there's some things to talk about. So I figured, let's go ahead. We'll talk about them tonight. Didn't have anything else really planned to talk to you guys about in the beginning of the live. Then all of a sudden there was there's these little case updates and all the cases that we're covering. I don't know if they're huge updates or not. They're just updates in general, but because I didn't get that far, I just pinned them all. But did you know, before we get started, did you know that they demolished Chad Daybell's home? The house that the horrors happened in? Yeah, they demolished his house. I saw that on Twitter. That was pretty rich, right? Oops, I'm sorry. Then there's an Elijah Vu update. I'll have to give you guys an update on that. I want to get back into the Jared Bridegan case. I want to do a poll to see if you guys wanted to cover that case still. And then we were covering a case of Noah Pressgrove, and there's updates in his case. There was a 2-hour call that got leaked, interview. And I don't know where the whole 2 hours is. I only have 10 minutes of it. So I need some time. I'm going to look for that. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Sebastian, I wanted to go over the rest of that stuff, review all the rest of the facts of the case. Just the facts. And then I think, and then I want to start on Maddie Soto. So I still have her tab up. So we have a lot of stuff to cover over here. So if you're into true crime and any of those cases, you're make sure hit the subscribe, hit the hit all the buttons, and we'll get into it. But I have not touched the Maddie Soto case since I looked earlier and I forget when it was. It's been a while. So I think what I'm going to do is put it on the community tab and have you guys help me. So that way I don't show you things that you've seen a million times over. I'll just have you guys kind of guide me in a way to a starting point. Or we could start at the beginning. It doesn't matter to me either way. We can just do a case review and then go into the new stuff, whatever you guys want to do. Hey, Aries. Hey, Lenora. Hey, Solo. Hey, Tony. Welcome in, everybody coming in. It's good to see you guys. So, we'll just go down the list of tabs I have open. I guess that sounds good to me. And I have lots of them. I have lots and lots. Okay. And right before the live, I clicked. So they're right on, if you if you left click on the Mac or right click or whatever it is on the Mac, there's right before, like there's a thing that says close or unpin tab, and then it says close all tabs. So I hit the close all tabs earlier and right before the live. So I closed all my tabs out. I was like, that's wonderful. Not like I need a guide or anything. I just like to have one. But we're going to go through some stuff tonight. We'll just go through the list here. So Bryan Kohberger, he has gotten a new change of venue. He's gotten a new judge with the change of venue. Now, I'm assuming that the prosecution is still going to be the same. Bill Thompson's just going to have to live in Ada County for 6 to 8 weeks, or however long they think this trial is going to last. But Judge John Judge said he's out. He was like, I'm out. Not going that far. I don't know why he tapped out. But the new judge does look like he's like he doesn't take no crap. Like he looks like this. And why does he look so dang familiar? What case was he on? Other than Lori and Chad's. What other cases this guy tried? Because he's so familiar. But Judge is the coolest name ever. It really is. It was really cool. I liked him until he didn't make no dang decisions. He couldn't make a decision to save his life. I mean, he just really couldn't. But this guy right here, even his hand gestures scare me. Oh, it should be in the chat. It's titaniumbuiltboo@gmail.com. But I am horrible at checking it, just to let you know. I'm terrible at it. I try to check them at least a couple times a week, but I'm really bad about it. I try to be better. I will try to be better. So this is the new judge. His name's Stephen Hippler. I don't know. He has his own YouTube channel. It's not really like his own YouTube channel. It's Idaho 4th District Court is where we'll be seeing the videos for the live streaming. So they will be live streaming so far. So far, so good. Now we just have to, like I said last night, we just have to, be good for a little while. Just a little while, like a year. And we'll be good to go. Because I don't want them to be like, we're pulling this out. Like we're pulling out cameras because you guys don't know how to act. That wouldn't be fun. So this I found was very interesting in this article. It's kind of long, but it goes over a little bit of everything and that's going on in the case currently. And just goes over like Bryan Kohberger and stuff as a person, as a suspect. I mean, as a suspect in this crime, not as a person. Probably goes over him as a person too, but that's not where I was getting at. Thank you, Cheryl, for gifting out memberships. That's so sweet. Did Ohio State win? I was going to say, we didn't even watch the game today. We bathed the dogs and I went to the pool. I laid in the pool. So Bryan Kohberger, Idaho murder trial is moved to Boise. New judge assigned. We didn't even get a goodbye. Should we send him a card? Maybe we should. Judge. This is for, maybe like a gift card or something. Go have a bourbon. Get him a, card to a bar. Just kidding. That'd be great. So I'm going to read through this. It was pretty interesting when I was reading through it earlier. So, and I'll show you some pictures as we go along. So the murder trial of Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022, will be moved out of Latah County to Boise, more than 300 miles to the south. A judge ruled on Thursday. And put a 1 in the chat if you've never heard of this case. Like if you've never been, like if you don't know what Idaho 4 is, or I feel like I should ask people because I mean, in November, we're going to be coming up on 2 years. I feel like if you're new, you might not know. But if you don't know, I'm going to tell you right now. So, Mike, Where was I at? Oh, thanks, Roro, for becoming a member. Thanks for gifting another membership, Cheryl. You guys are very sweet. I was on the other page. Let me come over here. Thank you guys. That's very sweet of you. Okay. If I don't read, we'll never get through this. It's a long one, but I got some pictures to show you too. Judge G. Richard Bevan, Chief Justice of Idaho State Supreme Court, ruled that the trial venue be moved to Ada County's 4th Judicial District and assigned District Judge Stephen Hippler to oversee the case. Kohberger was also to be transferred to the custody of Ada County, or the Ada County Sheriff, the order said. It wasn't clear when the transfer would take place, which he's been transferred. That happened the other day. So we've got this. I've got this picture here I found. That's them taking him from the little fixed wing plane, it looks like, to the car. They won't even drive with like a few hundred miles with him. They're like, we'll fly you. Like, they don't trust nothing. Do they think that he's some sort of like mastermind? Like he's gonna be able to get out of it? Like someone's gonna help him? I don't know. Maybe. Reverse images. You're newer to this case? Okay, well, we're going to be going over it. We've read every single document except for the last set that came out. And some of them, it's kind of because we're switching different. We were switching different courtrooms, so I didn't know if they're going to keep them the same. So we'll have to see if they do. But they got him shackled for sure. Shackled by the wrist, shackled by the feet. They might even have one of those little stun things on his leg. Who knows? I mean, I probably would. So we'll go back over here. Ada County is the state's most populous county with more than 500,000 residents. Kohberger's defense team has argued that the trial should be moved because media coverage of the case had undoubtedly tainted potential jurors' view of Kohberger in Moscow, the small college town where the murders took place. The slayings of Kayla Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in November 2022 stunned the community of roughly 26,000 people and led to a 6-week manhunt for the killer. Kohberger was arrested in December 2022. A judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf in 2023. His trial is scheduled to begin in June 2025. Here's the latest. Hold on one second, guys. I'm going to grab ibuprofen really quick. Hold on one second. I think they might be out in the room. So hold on one second. I'm sorry, guys. Count to 30 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. And I actually got a couple dogs on the way too, so that worked out. That worked out. Are you going to lay in your bed? Go lay in your bed. So this is going to, where are we at? Down here. Okay, here, sorry. I was like, where were we? Kohberger's trial is moved to Boise. Let me know what you guys think about that too, like the trial being moved. We did read the family statement from the Gonzalez family. They're the only family, that's come out and said anything about the trial being moved, but they've been the most vocal this whole time. They're they're extremely unhappy, and I understand that. Coming from their point of view, they have to uproot their whole lives to go to this trial, that they shouldn't have to be going to this. Yeah. I mean, if he did this, say you're guilty, dude, and don't and save the families, save the families the grief and the victims of the grief of having to travel 6 hours just to sit in a trial. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing that. And then you would have to have so much extra money. And people just don't have extra money like that right now, where you can afford a house payment to keep everything kind of, at home running, and then still be able to live away from your home for like 2 months. Like not a lot of people can do that. I mean, I don't know anybody that can really do that. Where it wouldn't be like no big deal. So, Idaho State Supreme Court announced the decision to move the trial to Ada County, which contains the state capital of Boise, on Thursday, September the 12th. The case was also assigned a new judge, Stephen Hippler, the administrative district judge for Idaho's 4th district jury. I don't know. Okay. Dave Leroy, a former lieutenant governor and attorney general of Idaho, told Today the courthouse in Boise was better equipped to handle a trial of this magnitude. Well, then we should just send them all there now, I mean, because that's where we're sending them all anyway, right? It's just kind of entertaining. It's not really entertaining. But the Ada County courthouse is many volumes bigger or larger than the Latah County courthouse, Leroy said. Well, and I never said, I said that they shouldn't have it at the courthouse. I said, just take it over to the school. Because it made sense when they were saying, June, we're starting in June 2nd court date, June court date, no matter what, June court date. And I told you guys, why does he keep saying no matter what, you're going on trial like June 2nd? I was like, that can be overridden if they change the venue, because that's what they were talking about doing at the time. I was like, and if that venue has already been booked or full, it already has a trial scheduled, they're not just going to be like, oh, your trial's not scheduled this date anymore, we're giving it to Kohberger. So I think Judge was really trying to get this. I think he was, the more I've read, the more I feel like he was kind of like, yeah, get her out of my hair, meaning Anne, and get him out of here too. I think he was I think he was over it. Because I was reading in here too, it says that due to an illness, that's why he didn't make any decisions on all of those briefs that Ann Taylor had put in right before. He made his ruling to change the venue, and I'll read over them too. Not I won't read over them, but I'll read you the titles of them, because they're very telling. So meanwhile, the Ada County Courthouse is many volumes larger than Latah County Courthouse. And we just completed having 2 venue change sensational murder trials here, the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell cases. So the administrative judge has established a significant protocol for how to handle the cameras, the security, and the public. Well, yeah, you just shut us out. That's what he did. In Lori's case, we got tapes. We don't want audio. We want the whole thing. What are you doing? Oh, what she was doing. Meanwhile, the parents of Kayla Gonzalez said they approved of the new venue, as well as Hippler's appointed as judge. Oh, man. Find a man that's got some character and some leadership, and let's hit the ground. Let's go, said Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee's father. Well, he does look like this judge does. He does look like more of a no nonsense kind of guy. In his ruling, judge agreed with the defense's argument that research showed the best way to avoid a biased jury was to change venues. Also, do you think that this is going to, do you think that Ann Taylor is going to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have wanted that venue change so much after all? Because I think this lawyer isn't going to give her half of what Judge would have gave her. Like, I think he's going to shut her crap down quick. I think Jay Loxton, he's not going to be able to say one law. He's not going to be able to cite one law in the 1800s without being interrupted. I just feel that way. And welcome in, everybody coming in. Welcome in, everyone. We are currently reading over just like the newest stuff that's kind of going on in the Idaho 4 case with Bryan Kohberger, if you're just now joining us. And we're going to listen to a podcast that I have for you guys. It's like I think it's the last one in season 2. So we'll go over that in just a moment as well. So judge wrote, in his ruling, judge agreed with the defense's argument that research showed the best way to avoid a biased jury was to change venues. Judge wrote that Latah County's small population of 41,000 makes it far more likely that residents would have connections to someone on the case or that they would have discussed it. While the issue of extensive sensationalized coverage is not unique to Latah County, Judge wrote, it is potentially more impactful given the volume of coverage coupled with the smaller population. Judge also wrote 2 other potential concerns about holding the trial in Latah County, like keeping the identities of the jurors private, the sheriff's office capacity for handling security, the small number of court clerks, the insufficient space in the county courthouse. That's true. Judge wrote, the interest of justice requires that the trial be moved to a venue with the resources, both in terms of personnel and space, necessary to effectively and efficiently handle a trial of this magnitude and length so that the parties and the court can focus on the case and not on peripheral issues. I mean, he's making good choices. I mean, that's a good choice. It's a good choice. Plus, he probably doesn't want to die on that hill, Judge heard arguments from the defense and prosecution on August 29th on whether to move Kohberger's trial or if it should proceed in the county where the killings took place. This is probably professionally the most difficult decision I ever had to make, Judge said during the hearing. Judge said he would review the law and the arguments before him before deciding on the change of venue. Attorneys for Kohberger pushed for his trial to be moved to Ada County, calling several witnesses to the stand who testified that news stories about the case have oversaturated the community. Mr. Kohberger has the constitutional right to a fair trial by an impartial jury, Ann Taylor, an attorney for Kohberger, said at the hearing, and to guarantee that this court must change venue. Prosecutors argued that they could find and see an impartial jury in Latah County and added the trial staying in the community would be more convenient for the families of the victims. Yeah. Steve Gonzalez, father of victim Kayla Gonzalez, called the venue change request irrelevant in an interview on Thursday. I trust this community to be fair and to go in there without their minds made up. They'd burn the courthouse down, Kohberger's defense argues a mob mentality has formed against him. Like, has anyone seen a mob mentality forming against Bryan Kohberger? Because I'm seeing the opposite. I'm seeing Care Bear hugs for him. Like, really. There's a lot less people that think that he is guilty right now, I feel like, than that think that he's in it. I don't know. On the YouTubes anyway. On the YouTubes. I just think that there's a lot of people that just don't see evidence or something. I don't know. They see it, or I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do. Like 1 minute they're here with us and we're all on the same page, and the next minute I'm like, what? I mean, I don't know. I think that they're heading in the right direction, in my opinion, but that's my opinion. So I like that people have different opinions too. Makes you think better. So I was trying to figure out where we were. So in a new court filing made public Tuesday, August 20th, defense lawyers pointed to remarks from residents they surveyed in Latah County who suggested that they would be violent repercussions if Kohberger was not found guilty, arguing that there is a mob mentality against him in Latah County. Kohberger's legal team made one last push to get the trial moved to Boise, citing inflammatory quotes from residents about what would happen if he was not found guilty, taken from a survey conducted by a defense expert, according to the filing. One resident said there would likely be a riot and he wouldn't last long because someone would do the good old boy justice. You know what this reminds me of? Like hearing those like kind of things, that guy that was yelling at Betty. You know, remember her and that guy like yelling, and he was like, "You spit at me, lady," and she was like, "I didn't spit at you." And he had like the American flag, and I think he had like a Trump flag or something on the back of his truck. I don't know, like I just feel like that guy would say something like, "Yeah, let him on out here, good old boy will get him." You know, like that guy was that guy was on something. Like he was not on something, but like he was on one. Like he was very passionate. One resident said there would likely be a riot. Oh, sorry, read that already. Another allegedly said they'd burn the courthouse down if Kohberger was set free. Man, the defense team is pushing to have the trial moved to Boise, which is 300 miles south of Moscow, but prosecutors have pushed to keep the case where it is. On today, on August 21st, NBC senior legal correspondent Laura Garrett said she believed Kohberger's team had a good chance of getting the trial moved. Just given how small the county is compared to Boise, I think that could make a big difference. Well, I hope not. Choosy Hedricks choose. I was trying to write your whole name, and I'm like, man, that's a long name. I love that you have such a I'd have to go into the chat so I could like at you to tag you. That's so long. The defense cited a survey they conducted that found 70% of locals had already formed a guilty opinion of Kohberger. 70%. Well, not on YouTube. Actually, you know what I was thinking? A lot of people that find him guilty, they probably just got off the internet by now. Do you know what I mean? They probably are just like, you know what I mean? They're not on the internet anymore. They're like just out doing other things. They're like Kohberger's in jail, you know? That could be. So, Elisa Mazeth, an attorney for Kohberger, previously said in court on April 10th that denying a change of venue would mean Mr. Kohberger's constitutional right to a fair trial is denied. Prosecutors have been pushing back on moving the trial since January, saying media coverage of the case is widespread, way beyond Latah County. It's not Moscow, it's not Latah County, it's everywhere, prosecutor Bill Thompson said in court on January 26th. So I don't think that a change of venue is going to solve any of these problems. If the trial is moved, it could affect the planned start date of June 2025. NBC News senior legal correspondent said on today, on July 24th, that the likelihood of the case being moved to a different venue is pretty high. I've talked to prosecutors down there, and they've said, look, the issue is that Latah County community is so tight that the jury pool is going to know somebody who knows somebody. We're talking about the difference between over 500,000 residents in Boise's versus 400,000 in community we're facing here. A judge laid out a plan on June 27th for Kohberger to stand trial starting in June 2025. The Latah County Court confirmed to NBC News the trial was scheduled to start on June 2nd, 2025. During a hearing on June 27th, Latah County District Judge said he expected the trial to take around 3 months, including sentencing if Kohberger was convicted. That's a lot. 3 months, really? How long was Alec Murdaugh's like trial? I feel like his trial was kind of like longer. Not that long though. So, judge asked the prosecution and the defense to try to meet several upcoming deadlines, saying, "I just don't want to be scrambling a month before the trial." Taylor said in court she was also working towards a June 2025 trial and said it was reasonable. In a statement to NBC News after the trial date was set, the family of Kaylee said it was a good day today. "We were able to get a trial date set and things appear to be moving forward. We are hopeful the trial stays in Latah County so as not to disrupt the scheduling order, and we are praying for no more delays," the statement read. "We moved a little closer to justice today for Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan." More than 6 weeks after the slayings, police arrested Kohberger, then 28, in Pennsylvania. Kohberger was charged with 4 counts of M and 1 count of felony burglary, and a judge entered a not guilty plea on Kohberger's behalf to the charges in May 2023. The case had been stalled for months in pretrial motions regarding the location of the trial and what evidence could be included, and leading to frustration from the victims' families. Yeah. Yeah, like, I can understand that. Like, if you knew this case was too big for you or your britches, you should have said something a while ago. You know, I don't know. Maybe he was afraid to. I don't know. Maybe he's afraid to say something, but still, you should have said something. Like, I feel like I would know, like, if I was a judge, I would know, like, right away, like, "Oh, no, this is way out of my wheelhouse." Like, I'm used to, you know, maybe somebody unaliving one person, and that's once in my career. I'm used to the DUIs and stuff. Like, what's going on here? I mean, maybe he didn't have very big, like, a lot of bigger crimes. I don't know that he sat before, but oh man, that poor guy. He got railroaded to that. I mean, remember he said the names wrong in the first hearing, and everybody went after him. Like, I mean, he should have practiced. I think he did practice the names too. I think he really did. I think he just messed up, and I think he was nervous. And oof. So this new guy, he better be on it. Um, we just want to know about the evidence. Steve Gonzalez said on Today in February, "There's just a lot of unknowns. How long do you have to wait until you can find out about your own child's life and what happened? Who did this, and how do you hold them accountable?" Attorneys for Kohberger argued in front of judge on May 2nd that prosecutors were withholding key evidence. Kohberger's legal team alleged prosecutors weren't handing over key pieces of evidence in discovery, including parts of a video that allegedly shows a vehicle matching Kohberger's car at the scene of the murders. "The court should ask itself, what is the state trying to hide here?" Taylor asked. In court, prosecutors denied that they were keeping the materials from the defense. The characterization that we are just consciously withholding information to frustrate the defense is utter nonsense. I can tell you many of the things that the defendant has tried to itemize when we talk to our people who say that doesn't exist, prosecutor Bill Thompson said. Kohberger's attorney asked for an upcoming hearing to discuss the surveillance video and other discovery materials to be open to the public, though judge ruled with the prosecution to keep the May 14th hearing private. The Gonzalez family expressed frustrations at the months of delay in the case. This banter has been going on for 17 months. Then once you get to a hearing, you have a hearing about the decision that was made at the hearing before the last hearing, and there needs to be another hearing, the Gonzalez family said in a statement on May 2nd. That's true. This case is turning into a hamster wheel of emotions, hearings and delayed decisions. Not every motion needs a hearing. Very true. Judge ruled in April that the defense could continue surveying potential jurors in Latah County, Idaho, as part of an effort to change the venue of the trial. He initially ordered for the defense to stop contacting local residents about the trial, but reversed course on April 22nd, ruling that Kohberger's attorneys may continue its surveys without modification to the survey questions. At a hearing earlier in April, prosecutors objected against the survey, which included questions about the trial. They argued some of the questions violated the judge's gag order in the case and accused the defense expert of intentionally tainting potential jurors. NBC News analyst Danny said on April 23rd, a change of venue is difficult to obtain. But if this survey really tends to show that Latah County potential jurors are just so completely biased against the defendant, then they may have a chance of moving it. Gonzalez's family expressed their frustration with the way the case was being handled in an April 23rd statement to NBC News. The survey is a ruse being used by the defense in an attempt to keep the trial out of Latah County. We pray the trial stays with the citizens of Latah County and justice is served. Yeah, how do you think that they're thinking? How do you feel about this trial being moved? I mean, if I was a Latah County resident, I might be feeling some type of way. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. It's not like their tax dollars are buying anything now. They're Ada County's fronting the whole bill. Now, I don't know if they're paying for, Bill Thompson. I don't think they're doing that, but they are paying for everything else. So, attorneys for Kohberger submitted an alibi to the court on April 17th, saying he was out driving alone on the night of the slayings. According to Idaho state law, defendants using an alibi must give the state notice of the details of the alibi, and a judge set an April 17th deadline for Kohberger's attorneys. So it wasn't he had this fabulous alibi and he was ready to give it. He waited till the day that he had to have it in by. That's when he gave it. Mr. Kohberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, as he often did, to hike and run and or see the moon and the stars. It was a cloudy night. Kohberger's attorneys wrote in the filing they will offer expert testimony to cast doubt on prosecutors' evidence, placing Kohberger near the scene of the crime, including cell phone data. No witnesses were listed in the filing. Judge previously appeared skeptical of Kohberger's alibi when his defense attorney first raised it last year. This so-called alibi, not really an alibi, judge said during a hearing in August 2023, you're suggesting there might be some witness, then cough them up. In court documents filed April 2nd, 2023, Kohberger's Idaho defense attorneys gave an outline of his defense and alibi. Here it is. Mr. Kohberger has had a habit of going for drives alone. His attorney, Ann Taylor, wrote in the filing. Often he would go for drives at night. He did so late on November 12th. So remember that. And into November 13th, 2022. So that means before midnight, and they have him on camera turning his phone back on, going back into Pullman at 5:20 something in the morning. So what are you doing out that long? 6.5 hours driving? Just driving around? No. Not even the heaviest of smokers do that. Car rides and stuff. No, you know what I mean? Nobody drives that much. Not even, you are not a long haul, semi-trucker driver. You know what I mean? Who does that? Who just goes out and drives for 6.5 hours? In the middle of winter. Not in the middle of the winter, beginning of winter, I guess. Be late fall. But that'd be cold. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just it's beyond my comprehension. Just to be driving, if you're just going, I don't know. There's a million other things I'd rather be doing at 3, 4, and 5 in the morning. Sleeping. And I could tell you where I was November 13th, 2022. I was at home. I was here. I was actually over there probably. But I was here. BK does, yeah. He didn't stop for food. He didn't stop to go to the bathroom. He didn't stop for gas. He didn't stop to say anything. He didn't stop for nothing. He just kept driving for 6.5 hours. That's what I don't get. You know what I mean? What? You'd have to stop. And I know he's going to try to say he stopped at the Wawa Park. I can't remember the name of it. It's something like that. But they have a gate that they close at night. So how would you get your car back there? Now, let's say you just didn't even take your car back. You just parked it there and then you walked back. Why would you be on property, like government property? Like, I don't know. Or like state property. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, you can walk anywhere, but you're going to walk where it's closed. So it says corroborating evidence that Kohberger was not at the scene of the crime will come from cross-examination of the state's witnesses and presentation of defense experts at trial. Mr. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. At this time, there is not a specific witness to say precisely where Mr. Kohberger was at each moment of the hours between late night November 12th and early morning November 13th, 2022. He was out driving during the late night and early morning hours of November 12th through the 13th, 2022. You can listen to the whole Pink Floyd album and you still would have hours on your hands. And they have some pretty long songs. Yeah, it was cloudy. I don't know why to see what moon and stars. It says Taylor said at this time, Mr. Kohberger cannot be more specific about the possible witnesses and exactly what they will say. Because they're not your witnesses. Go get your witnesses, because these witnesses are not going to say they saw Bryan Kohberger for the prosecution. They're just not going to say that. Okay. You can't pick apart whatever they're saying and then try to fit to your narrative that he was, you know what I mean? We're not doing that at court and we're not doing that at trial. So go out, get your own investigators that you're supposed to have, you're making all that money, investigate, get your client a better alibi. I mean, I know he's got to stick with that. He has to stick with he's driving out. He's out driving. You got to work with that. But you got to find a witness that can be like, yeah, I was walking down the road and I could have saw a white car or something. I don't know. Something. Because your boy's saying that he was out looking at the stars and maybe he possibly could have been on a hike November 13th in the morning hours. That makes no sense. The trial is now scheduled to start June 2nd, 2025. Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial in August 2023, delaying the trial that was originally scheduled for October 2nd, 2023. Pre-trial hearing scheduled for September 22nd, 2023 was also postponed until October 26th because of the unspecified illness, further delaying proceedings. So there was these pre-trial hearings that they were supposed to do. There was a lot of them, guys. Like, a lot. I don't think he didn't give any answers to any of these. Okay, so motion to strike felony murder aggravator, strike future dangerousness aggravator, strike HAC aggravator, strike multiple victims aggravator, strike notice of intent to seek the death penalty, strike notice of intent to seek the death penalty. Another one for death penalty. Notice to strike the state's notice to pursuant on grounds of arbitratedness. Motion to strike the death penalty. Motion to strike utter disregarded aggravator. Okay, that was all of it. So those all came in on the 5th. Like, Ann was like, boom, 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 right? And then on the 6th is order granting defendant's motion to change venue. Like, was our dude not feeling good? Was our judge not feeling judgy? Because he was like, see ya. See, you broke him, man. You broke him. Where were we at? So another outstanding issue was the investigators' use of investigative genetic genealogy to track down Kohberger ahead of his arrest. IGG is a newer practice that includes the use of genetic information from DNA databases available to the public, such as Family Tree DNA and 23andMe. The prosecution has argued that they're not using the IGG portion of their investigation as part of their current case against Kohberger. On the other hand, the defense has argued that everything in this case is relevant. In January 2024, the mother of Kaylee Gonzalez spoke to NBC News correspondent on Today about the anxiety surrounding the long wait for a trial date to be set. We know if they don't push for this summer, we're looking at over a year, and that's mind-boggling, Christy Gonzalez said. It's sickening. Just think where you'd be in September of 2024. You know what I mean? That was January. We don't have a trial date. Well, we do, but they're gonna probably end up changing it. They even though the judge said they would. Judge said they wouldn't. That other judge doesn't have to listen. There's just a lot of things that are just changing. Change of venue, change of judge. Kohberger is suspected in the deaths of Chapin 20, Mogan 21, Kernodle 20, and Gonzalez 21, 4 University of Idaho students who were killed at the home near campus on November 13th, 2022. Police in the local Lotte County coroner believe the students were killed inside the house as they slept, though some had defensive wounds. The 3 women were roommates in the house, while Chapin was Kernodle's boyfriend who was spending the night. 2 other roommates who were unharmed later discovered the bodies and called 911 the next morning. Following Kohberger's arrest at his parents' home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, he was extradited to Idaho to face charges of 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 felony burglary charge. At a hearing in May, Kohberger stood silent in court, and a judge entered not guilty pleas on his behalf on all of the charges. Kohberger was a PhD student at Washington State University, just across the state line in Pullman, Washington, in the Criminal Justice Department. University officials confirmed in a statement December 30th, 2022. They added that WSU Police Department had helped Idaho law enforcement officials search both Kohberger's apartment and office on the WSU campus on the morning of December 30th, 2022. At a December 30th, 2022 press conference, police confirmed that Kohberger maintained an apartment residence in Pullman as a student, but is originally from Pennsylvania. Thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it. This is a long read, but it's almost done now, I think. Yeah, I think we're getting towards the bottom. Kohberger did his undergraduate and master's degree at DeSales University, a public Catholic university in Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Whoa. Wait, whoa. Okay, I don't want to cross cases, but just keep this in mind. That is the same county that the at night intelligent corporation group that is backing Dog and all of them in the Sebastian Rogers case, that's the same county in Pennsylvania that Nick the Hat is from. Just saying. Did you know Kohberger? Did you know Kohberger? I'm just kidding. I don't think he knew Kohberger, but did he go to a private Catholic university, DeSales? No, but when I saw that, it just hit me because I was like, I just looked at that business like the other day. He says he got his bachelor's degree in 2020 and finished his graduate studies in 2022 of June. The school confirmed in a statement he got his master's degree in criminal justice according to the school's commencement announcement at the time. After news of Kohberger's arrest, internet searchers found a Reddit post where Kohberger apparently had asked volunteers for a graduate research project to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making while committing a crime. And we went over that whole thing. DeSales University confirmed the email address listed on the post had belonged to Kohberger when he was a student there. I need a break from reading for just a second. I know, isn't it, Captain? It is a joke. When I saw that Lehigh, I was like, wait a minute. I think that's what it is. Or is it lean? No, that's what it is. Lehigh, yeah. It is because my mom used to talk about going to the Poconos too. Because the same area where I was born, but I didn't live there very long. Mary Beth was here. Dreamcatcher. There she is. But I thought I just saw her. I was trying to like look at the chat while I'm reading. If I'm reading, I'm on a different page. It's hard to see the chat as well. So why did he go to WSU? That's where he wanted to go get his master's, I guess, in criminal or PhD in criminology. He went to, I don't know what high school. I forget what the high school name is off the top of my head. But then he went to like a 2-year, like a technical kind of school, and then went to DeSalles, and then went to WSU. And he was working on getting his degree in criminal justice, and he was working as a teacher's assistant. But every teacher's assistant I've ever known, I don't know, they could be different out there, but they've just like graded some papers and like just did whatever. But this guy seemed like he did the mostest during being a TA. So it says a probable cause affidavit, which detailed the evidence used to charge and arrest Kohberger, was unsealed on January 5th. In the affidavit, authorities laid out evidence linking Kohberger to the crime, including DNA samples, cell phone records, and the movements of a white Hyundai Elantra. According to the affidavit, a tan leather knife sheath with K-bar and USMC, along with U.S. Marine Corps insignia stamped on it, was located on the bed in the home next to Mogan's body while processing the crime scene on November 13th, 2022. Investigators were able to locate a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath, according to the affidavit. Police recovered trash on December 27, 2022 from Kohberger's parents' home, and the DNA from the knife sheath showed a connection to the DNA profile obtained from the trash, the affidavit stated. Police said during a press conference on December 30th, 2022, that the weapon used in the attack, believed to be a fixed blade knife, has still not been located. Investigators applied for search warrants for Kohberger's cell phone records, according to the affidavit, and the records showed Kohberger's phone traveling through Pullman, Washington around 2:47 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. The phone stopped reporting to the cellular network shortly after, and investigators wrote in the affidavit they believe Kohberger either disabled the phone or turned it off. The phone didn't report to the network again until 4:48 a.m., according to the affidavit, which showed the phone heading from Idaho towards Washington. Police in Moscow had previously announced that they had been searching for a white Hyundai Elantra as a possible piece of evidence. After the Moscow Police Department asked law enforcement to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai Elantra on November 25th, 2022, a WSU officer searched the school database and found Kohberger's registration to a student apartment complex in Pullman on November 29th at 12:28 a.m. Less than 30 minutes later, another WSU officer found Kohberger's car in the parking lot of the building while searching for white Hyundai Elantras. Law enforcement sought out any footage from the area the morning of the killings, and according to court documents, police followed footage of what they believed to be a white Hyundai Elantra involved in the slayings the morning of the incidents at 3:25 a.m. The vehicle passed by the victim's residence 3 times starting at 3:29 a.m., according to the affidavit. The 4th time the car passed by the home was at 4:04 a.m., and it was then seen leaving the neighborhood at a high rate of speed at 4:20 a.m. WSU cameras picked up the sedan departing Pullman the morning of the killings around 2:44 a.m. and heading east towards Moscow and returning about 5:25 a.m., according to the affidavit. I said 5:27, so sorry, 5:25. The 2 surviving roommates, the affidavit also revealed new details from interviews with the roommates who were home during the attack and survived. Both roommates spoke with investigators, according to the affidavit, and one said she came almost face to face with the suspect. The roommate, Dylan Mortensen, who is identified in court documents as DM, said she first woke up around 4 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, when she heard what she thought was Gonzalez playing with her dog. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Gonzalez say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." She opened the door multiple times after hearing crying in a male voice, according to the affidavit, and after opening it for the 3rd time, she saw a man wearing a mask that covered his nose and mouth, around 5'10", and not muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. Mortensen said the man walked past her towards a sliding glass door as she stood in a frozen shock phase. After seeing the person whom she did not recognize, she locked herself in her room, she told authorities. Soon after Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial, the prosecution and investigators asked the University of Idaho for access to the home on King Road. The FBI visited for several days this fall, getting documentation to construct visual and audio exhibits and a physical model of the home, according to an October 31st, 2023 release from the university. I want to see that little physical model of the home looks like. Because I put that one, we had that one on here. It's in the playlist somewhere that it goes through all like the bedrooms and stuff. Not the one from Kula. It's like a different one. Plywood covering the windows and doors were removed for the process and then recovered. The release also said the house was demolished at the end of December 2023, leading to mixed reactions from the community. That's an understatement. Thanks for sticking with me. That was a long read. That's a pretty long read. That was an hour. Can you believe that? Hey, Karen, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a while, Karen. Welcome back. So they will have live. Yep. So it's going to be live on court. Let me get you guys the website. I wanted to put this in the chat just in case somebody take this down and, because I know me and I'm going to say, I don't have that web page. And then you could be like, Tanya, I have it right here for you. So if you guys want to watch the Idaho, any of the Idaho proceedings, that's the court, the YouTube page that you'll want to be subscribed to. I am subscribed over there, so maybe I need to like put it on personalized. Okay, we'll put it on all for now, so we get all the notifications. Stephanie, look at that, lucky number 13. Wow, it's a long time, girl. Thank you for being a member that long. Wow, that's a long time. I love that. I love seeing those numbers, like the high numbers. I like seeing the low numbers though too. Shoot, I like seeing all the numbers. I'm just happy. I'm happy that you want to be a member of the channel. That you wanted to be a member, and for 13 months, that's a long time. I definitely don't take it for granted, because I am only a member on one channel. So I'm like, that person better feel special. That one channel. I just haven't like renewed some of my. I undid them all, and I need to renew some of them back. But some of my people haven't went live for me to renew them back. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll review this. It's just like a few minutes. So this is like 3 minutes long, and then we'll move on to the podcast, and I'll tell you about the new paperwork that's come out, but it's not like long or anything like that. It's nothing groundbreaking, but I'll let you know what's going on.
Just in today, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in November of 2022 will appear in court for the first time in Ada County a week from today. Our Abby Wilt is live outside the courthouse with a preview of what's to come for Bryan Kohberger. Abby.
Morgan, Kohberger is expected to be here at the Ada County Courthouse next week, and that hearing is supposed to lay out the next steps for the trial, including the timeline of the trial. The Ada County Courthouse tells me today that after having the Lori Vallow trial here and the Chad Daybell trial here, they do feel prepared for a trial of this nature.
It's not the first time we've dealt with a case of significant
Look at that place.
import to the.
Look at that. Now that's a courthouse. Now, do you think that this is going to, do you think this is making Kohberger feel some type of way? Do you think he's cool with this? Do you think that he is like scared now? I'll show you his new mugshot after we're done with this. Courthouse is bigger than Moscow. I know, right? This is like a hospital or something. Like it looks like they added on. That's a huge courthouse. I didn't realize how big it was. I've seen the front of it, like standing at the steps, for Lori Vallow's. But this is like, wow. Mia. They are always having weird dreams.
Public that generates a lot of not just local, but national interest.
The attention is on Ada County
All the proceedings will be here in Ada County.
for the trial of Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in November of 2022. He will appear in court for the first time in Boise Thursday.
I'm sure Mr. Kohberger would be present for that hearing.
Judge James Cawthon, who's the deputy administrative district judge but not assigned to the case, says it'll be a status conference to determine next steps for Kohberger.
It's a chance for Judge Hippler, for the council involved, to kind of find direction for moving
Oh, great. It's a show and tell, like, hello, how are you? Meet and greet.
forward and moving the case towards the trial.
The trial was previously scheduled to begin in June of 2025 and last 3 months, but now that start date and length is up in the air.
All the time schedules that were laid out in Latah County will have to be reset for hearing in Ada County.
Judge
Well, no.
Stephen Hippler, who's assigned to the case, can also
No, that ain't going to work. That's not going to work for everybody that's been following this case, because Judge John Judge said repeatedly, and we all have it on video because we all streamed it. That court date's not going to be changed. Our trial date will not be changed. If we change courts, that trial date will stay. And I said, no, it won't. I said, because what if the new judge has something on his docket already? He is not going to move something for Bryan Kohberger. Sorry, just not sorry. That's not how it works.
determine whether there will be virtual options for hearings, like for
That
the
you.
defense and the prosecution, so they aren't traveling back and forth from North Idaho.
The courts do have
If they want to see a riot, then they better not postpone this case. They'll see one.
an option for people to appear virtually, but that's probably one of the matters that may be discussed.
Ada County will provide all resources for this case.
That's where I've
with
seen it
no
from, like
help
that.
from outside counties.
Being that it's been transferred to Ada County, in as much as we have an Ada County judge presiding over that, it'll be our resources that we're using to handle the case.
As Ada County has to allocate more resources to the Kohberger trial, Cawthon says he's confident previously scheduled trials will go on.
I don't think anything's going to be delayed or put off into the future because we have this trial. The court proceedings we would normally be doing had Mr. Kohberger's case not come to us, we would still be business as usual.
Business as usual.
And Cawthon tells me that the county will work together to put on a fair trial for Kohberger, a fair trial for the families of the victims, and a fair trial to the public to get information on this case.
Okay, yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Make sure Bryan gets a fair trial. That's all we care about right now, is just make sure he gets a fair trial. So then we can move on from him. I can't wait until he is in a courtroom, like on trial. I cannot wait until opening statements. I would love to be there for opening statements. That would be... I'd have to super glue myself to Bryan in order to get in the courthouse, because like everybody's going to be there. But this is a courthouse where everybody can kind of go. I mean, they're probably going to have a hot dog stand and everything outside. That's sad to say, but I bet you it's going to turn, it'll be like OJ. Didn't they have they had like vendors up for that when he was going on trial? Man, that was forever. And that was like another lifetime ago, you know? I mean, he got out and like lived his life a little bit, went back in and everything. Like that was a while ago. Okay. So the new documents that are out, I will show you the pictures of Bryan again, that we went over earlier. Like, so this is the new judge, Judge Hippler, Stephen Hippler. He looks like he means business. He really does. He really, really does. Let me drop the link for the court. This is going to be for this court. If you want to watch the lives, you can come watch them through me, you know, of course. But if you want to watch them on your own, understandable, you know. What else? I was going to show you something else, I thought. Oh, I was going to show you this is his new mugshot. Now, you don't even have to stand there with the sign in front of you anymore. They have it watermarked. That's part of the booking process, I feel like. You know, like, I don't know, it's just part of the booking process. You should have to, like, hold the little sign. Now, I wonder how that would work out for, like, Bill Thompson. So if Bill Thompson is on this case, how is he going to do other cases like in Latah County, right? So I don't know how that's going to work. We'll find out. We'll find out when, here in a couple of days. I think it's the 26th he goes to court. So we'll find out then when what's going to happen. If Bill is standing in there, then we're like, okay, I guess Bill's coming. If Bill's not, or if he is and he says he's leaving, I don't know. I don't know. This is going to get good. He does have evil eyes, I think. They're empty or something. Yeah, there's something. Maybe it's just they're like they're larger. I don't know. He looks like he's almost smirking in this picture. Does he look like that to you guys, or is it just me? And I'm not like, it's like almost like he wants to start busting out laughing and he's holding it in. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean or to say he's guilty or any of that. But doesn't he look like he's holding in a laugh? To me, he like almost does. I don't know. It's just something about this smile. Maybe that's his just his lips. I mean, I probably got resting bitch face, so I can't say much. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like Betty says. Just saying. Wonder what happened to his eye. He needs a haircut too, looking around the ears. Maybe we can get him and Sarah a 2-for-1 deal. Okay, so this is the new document. Okay, so just a couple things came out. Like, let me see here. In the matter of the change of the venue, we just went over that. I'm not going to read it. I'll just share it with you. But it says it is ordered that the venue for all further proceedings be transferred out of Latah and go to Ada. Just different judge. And then also the defendant shall be transferred. So I'm wondering how he's feeling at Ada County right now, too. I wonder if it's like refreshing to him because he got to move jails or what? Or maybe it's harder because, I don't know. I wonder how they're like where he's at, where he's housed. Where is Banfield? Banfield had this when he was in Latah County Jail, she had it all mapped out. She had someone come in from the jail. She had all kinds of stuff. Where is that Banfield at? The one we used to, know and love. I haven't watched her in a while. We watched her a couple nights ago, but that was older stuff. So this is just the order governing courtroom conduct, which was the same before. Just act like a decent human freaking being while you're here, and we'll keep the cameras in. Pretty much, just no media interviewing, in the courtroom. She knocked over something. Sorry, that was loud. My dog's right here. And then just, no disruptive behavior. Don't wear a t-shirt into court that says Budweiser or something on it. Like, I mean, come on, courtroom decorum. Don't ask the cell phones. Let's see. It has to be turned off or be in silent mode. So that's pretty cool. It shall not be used to record, photograph, or transmit any sound, images, or video. Well, that's fine. They could still take notes, though. Okay. All persons entering the courtroom may be subject to additional security screening, if you have a handbag, backpack, something like that. They need to be checking all the sheriff, too. They need to be checking everybody, especially after what we just had happen, Crazy. Okay, let me refresh the page for the podcast. So we are we're on season 2 of this podcast. If you haven't watched any of this with us, I have them all on a playlist under videos. I do have to download the last 3 for you guys, I think. And I'll make sure I get those done. But you got seasons 1 and most of season 2 on there. We are on season 2 episode. I think it's technically episode 11, but I think in mine it's on episode 9 because we played 2 or something together. So it says that it says Those Left Behind is the title, and I think it's just going to go obviously over the people that are here after the 4 college students were, unalived. Let me get it. Share this with you here. And I'm going to play this, and then I'll put some like overlays up or whatever. That way you don't have to just like look at this screen the whole time. And this is about like 30 minutes long. Oops. Oh, there's the people that do it.
That day. I was just stuck in this cycle of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Or could this happen to me?
The underlying psychological phenomenon is that they are doing to themselves what the killer didn't do to them.
Why am I here but not them? Why wasn't I one that they took? There's so much that goes with surviving something like this.
This is The Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Season 2, Episode 11, Those Left Behind. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Leidecker and Gabriel Castillo. At the center of the horrific murders that took place on November 13th, 2022 are, of course, the victims. And it's of the utmost importance, not just from a reporting standpoint, but from a human perspective, to keep their memories alive.
If you knew Ethan, he was never angry about anything. He would never get upset. Everybody loved him, and I feel so lucky to have shared so many great memories with him.
Xana was the funniest person I knew and made me laugh every time I spent time with her. She was my baby sister, but she was so much wiser and experienced so much more in life than I ever have.
Maddie was the best at spreading love to all of those that were close to her. Every time I talked to her on the phone, she would end the conversation with "I love you."
Kaylee was our middle child out of 5. She was always competitive. She was smack dab middle, so there was never a day that she didn't want to race her brother because she was just determined that girls were faster than boys.
Not only were their families devastated, but so too were their friends and the community at large. For those left behind, the healing may have only begun, and it may, for some, last a lifetime. To try and get some understanding of the impact left in the wake of the murders, Stephanie and I reached out to a psychiatrist specializing in survivor's guilt, as well as speaking with Whitney Galloway, a brave young woman who has been through and is still healing from survivor's guilt. Stephanie and I had the honor of meeting Whitney while working on a documentary on the Pike County murders, which is covered in detail in our other podcast, The Piketon Massacre. Here's Whitney, then Stephanie.
Well, for me, it did take me a long time to process everything, get through it. Yeah, I was 18 at the time, so at 18, you don't really expect to have to deal with the emotions, the after effects, it's basically PTSD of what you get from something like that to happen.
You and I met with Courtney a couple years ago now. Courtney and I think, were in town for Wagner's trial and had been reaching out to you. And I can still picture you sitting on that wooden swing, just sort of like, who are these two people coming up to my house right now? Is this safe? For anyone who's not familiar with the Pike County murders and the massacre in Pike County, they lost their lives really tragically at the hands of another family of 4. Jake Wagner, who is the youngest son of this foursome, was a mother, father, and 2 sons. He's the youngest. Whitney knew and had a lot of contacts with in the months, if not longer, leading up to the murders. And her very best friend, Hannah Gilley, had lost her life that night, really tragically. And, you knew the whole family, you knew all of the victims, but that really fishtails into why we're talking right now. Massacres are not common, thank God. But then there's Idaho, where also 4 young adults lost their lives. 2 of the surviving victims were in the home at the time of the murders, and families have been ripped apart and devastated. So we thought it was like a nice way to take a breath and talk to you a little bit about that impact and what that's like and what your journey has been like.
I mean, still to this day, it's been 8 years since they were taken from us. And I still struggle. I don't want to say you can't get over it because I feel like it's not something you can get over, but you learn to live with it.
Here's Dr. Carol Lieberman, a board-certified psychiatrist known as America's Psychiatrist, as well as the terrorist therapist. This comes into play because Dr. Carol has dedicated much of her career in the last 23 years, helping people cope with the aftermath of 9/11. I began our conversation simply asking for the definition of the term survivor's guilt.
Survivor's guilt is generally used to mean someone who was in a very traumatic situation and who survived it when other people didn't, and who is left with a feeling like they didn't deserve to survive, they should have done more to save the other people, they feel that they should have done more, or something that they did do made it worse for the people, killed the other people, helped to kill the other people. They're punishing themselves. They feel they deserve to be punished because they survived this horrible thing. And so they are basically continuing the trauma by continuing to punish themselves. They didn't get killed or injured, perhaps, but they deserve to, and therefore I'm going to ruin my life. And that's not conscious, they don't say that to themselves necessarily consciously, but they become stuck in the trauma. They become, because they feel they should have died, they don't want to or can't proceed with their life. It's like they did die. And so it can be totally, totally debilitating. It's not the same thing as PTSD, although it's kind of mentioned in the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, as being sort of related to PTSD, but post-traumatic stress disorder. But so it can show in with symptoms of anxiety, depression, PTSD, different kinds of psychological symptoms, but where the underlying psychological phenomenon is that they are doing to themselves what the killer didn't do to them.
Here again, Whitney talking about the impact the April anniversary of the murders have on her. At the time of the recording, the anniversary was upcoming.
It's almost like your body holds that trauma from that day. Your body will hold it. Your body will always remember it. Even though, say, it's like 25 years down the road, it's like this month I'm getting a headache. I'm anxious more. I talked to a therapist. I've been in therapy for a year now because I didn't realize what I was doing because of the murders. But she explained it to me. She said, your body holds in that trauma and it remembers trauma. And so where April is such a big month to me, it made sense. I'm anxious more. I'm having nightmares. I wake up in the middle of the night. I feel like I won't remember the day till it's the day, but my body won't let me forget it.
I guess that's really true. I think that would probably apply to any real loss. Suddenly it's the 8-year anniversary. I know that's in just a few days. It's been heavy on our hearts as well, and all of the victims' families in Pike County in general.
I asked Dr. Carol if it's common for people to experience exacerbated symptoms around anniversaries.
Yes, that can happen.
Yes,
Anniversary
it can.
reactions are really interesting. A lot of times people aren't aware that such and such a date is coming up. But then when the date happens, all of a sudden, either they're feeling things in their body, they can't get out of bed or something like that, because they're so depressed, or they do something that is totally out of character because part of their mind does realize that it is this anniversary. A good example, of course, is 9/11. Every year when the anniversary happens, it triggers memories. And even if the people aren't necessarily thinking right before, oh, well, it's September 11th, when the day comes, that's a trigger, of course, but even things like planes flying overhead, making a loud noise, or what they were eating. For example, people who were eating a certain thing for breakfast that day. And then whenever they have that again, it reminds them of that morning when they were eating it and then 9/11 happened, or they don't have it again on purpose.
Stephanie and Whitney continue their conversation about grief and its cyclical nature. Here again, Stephanie, followed by Whitney.
It creeps up on you, right? Suddenly you think you have it all tucked away. And then that's, I guess, the thing about grief. It's a hole. It's a hole that maybe doesn't have to be filled.
Yeah. And that doesn't ever get filled, but you find a way to work around it, I guess. Yeah. For me, like, I went so many years without any help, without talking to anybody. Like, no one could really relate to what, I mean, besides the family, obviously, but you don't want to go and keep bringing it up to them because it's a traumatic thing. So trying to find a friend or a friend that would even remotely understand what it was like is hard, especially at such a young age. It was hard. But therapy has helped me tremendously. I know some people just don't.
Don't
Yeah,
believe
go
in
ahead.
it, right? They don't know. Some people like are resistant to therapy, and we're not condoning it or prescribing it one way or the other. I too believe in it. We don't want to burden people with your grief. You don't want to seem weak by, being on a loop and feeling like you just have loss that you can't get out of the way.
Like, it consumes your whole life. I got to the point where it felt like this was my whole life. I felt like my world stopped that day, and I was just stuck in this cycle of, "Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Or could this happen to me? Is this gonna happen to me? Who can I trust? Who can I not trust? Are my doors locked? Are my win—"
Just wanted to give you a little background on the girl that's talking. So the girl that's talking right now, she is actually on another case that they covered, a horrific crime that happened. I really wanted to cover it on the channel, and I should just cover it because it's really that interesting. And I believe one of them is still going to court for his deed. But basically, a family of 8 all lived on like this compound together. They all had like the different houses, and this other family, which they shared a child. Their children shared a child together, or it was like not, it was they were connected through the birth of a child of, I think it was a daughter. Well, they ended up unaliving 5 family members, unalived 8 family members all in one night, and they got away with it forever. Like, it was months, maybe even a year or longer. I'll have to like refresh my memory on exactly how long they got away with it, but they got away with it for a while. And they took the houses off the property and everything because they were afraid people would break into them. Like, they were like trailer type of properties, so they could just like kind of like pick them up, put them on, um, flatbeds and stuff and transport them. And that's what they did. So that's who's talking here. She was one of the survivors, I believe, that there was 2 kids that they didn't harm.
Windows locked. Am I safe? I still have that. I'm learning to start to trust people. It takes a long time, a very long time. For me at least, it took a long time. I feel like if I had somebody else that I could relate to with what was going on, it would probably help me a lot more and a lot sooner.
Yeah, in Pike County. I meant to tell you that part. Patricia, sorry about that. It was the Pike County massacres. Yeah. And I grew up like 30 minutes from there. So when that came out, when that story happened, I was like, what? It was just so crazy to me because, I mean, I think a lot of us are from small towns, and we're not like, we're like, not our small town, and it's like, that was way too close. That was too close.
Sooner.
And I think you're not alone in that. I think that kind of says 2 things. One, granted, both of these cases, both in Idaho and in Pike County, are extreme, right? We heard a statistic that the likelihood of you being in a massacre of this level or losing someone you love in a manner like this is as common as being killed by a vending machine falling on you. It's that rare, right? So on the one hand, there's comfort in that. These are extreme cases, but for someone like you or for any of the students in Idaho or family members, you realize like the flame was really close. And it's hard to reacclimate to the world that you want to be safe when you realize, the boogeyman was really close.
Yeah, she covered 2 cases where the perpetrators came inside the person's home and unalived them. Like these 2 ladies, that must be what they're into. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what those cases interesting to them.
Or with somebody that I knew.
Yeah. Or they say like, monsters are not real, but they actually, they are. They really are. For me, when I talk about it now,
Yeah,
I
they are.
don't feel as ashamed. Like, I don't feel like I'm being a burden to anybody to talk about it because it did happen to me and I did have to work through it. And I can talk about it and I'm allowed to talk about it. It was
Yes,
such
you
a
are.
significant thing in my life and it was such a traumatic thing in my life that I'm allowed to feel a certain way. I'm allowed to be sad one day. I'm allowed to celebrate their life one day. No one can tell you you're being too much over something like that. No one can tell you how to feel about it. No one can tell you, oh, you've been sad long enough. We're done. I'm at the point now where instead of grieving, I'm still grieving, but I want to remember the good things. I want to remember, I do have these amazing people in my life. I do have pictures to look back on, and I'm allowed to watch videos and laugh about and things that we joked around about. I'm allowed to say I miss her or yeah. It's a lot to some people, but the right people it won't be a lot to talk about.
And I think that makes you such an amazing source. I know one thing for sure, that you do not
so
heal
sad.
alone. Nobody heals alone. And you don't have to be connected to a massacre to understand loss and to have trauma. It comes in so many shapes and sizes and in so many different ways. And sometimes people feel like my pain wouldn't nearly be as big as their pain. You even thought that for a second. Well, I'm not the family, so I shouldn't be able to feel this much pain, which is, grief and love are so wildly connected and they're so incredibly closely tied. And if you stuff that stuff down, it can really turn on you. It turns on your body. It turns on your decision making. We start making decisions from a place of loss as opposed to a place of gain. Loss is loss. You might have just a bigger well to pull from, but I'm sure many people listening are sad. They don't have that best friend like you had in Hannah.
Let's
that's
stop
what it
here
was.
for a break. We'll be back in a moment.
She was best friends with one of the girls that was killed, I think. That's bad.
I asked Dr. Carroll about Whitney's complicated feelings of being unable to feel her own grief because she felt it was so much worse for the victims and their families.
A part of survivor's guilt is not feeling that you deserve any treatment, therapy, or any sympathy for what you did experience as part of the trauma. And so feeling like experiencing grief or experiencing some of the things that perhaps the families of the people who were killed and so on feel, it feels self-indulgent to experience grief and to and even to to when people would say, oh, that must be so hard for you to lose your friend and blah blah blah. And of course in her case, actually, you said she was friends with the people who did this. What makes Whitney's case particularly complicated is that she feels guilty that she didn't stop it because she knew the people who did it.
She has said, why didn't I stop it? Of course, no way to imagine this would have happened, but yes, you're exactly right.
So it's extra guilt. It's not just that she survived, but she blames herself. It's just self-blame. I mean, this kind of thing could cause not only things like depression, anxiety, and all of that, but actual physical, I hate to say it, but like things like cancer, things like other kinds of diseases or disorders. If you keep showering yourself with all of this guilt and blame and year upon year, that is very, very unhealthy. It can cause all kinds of systems in your body to go bonkers.
As a reminder, we met Whitney while working on the Pike County documentary.
Do you feel like this by talking, even just through the process of being in the documentary and sort of talking it out, did that shift things a little bit for you?
Well, I mean, I was nervous at first to do the documentary, but in a way, it was kind of healing for people to see. Not only did it affect, yes, it affected their family, and I could not imagine what it would be for a family member. But as a close friend, there's just it was healing for me because people got to see it from my point of view. People got to see how not only did the Wagners did what they did to the rodents and the gillies, but it was so many more people than what they probably realize. I mean, like I said in the documentary, they changed my life that day. Even today, I'm still not gonna be the same, which who would expect someone to be the same, right? After something like that. But, no, it was actually kinda healing to be able to voice what they did to not only the family, but to everybody else.
I think that's the whole point of these things, right? Even this podcast. It's like sometimes people assume, oh, it's just like to unpack a grisly event. And truly, that's not the case. I think it's two-part. One, to prevent. If you don't know that these types of things happen in the world, it's really hard to avoid them or identify red flags and things that are really easy to do in retrospect, in somebody else's retrospect, even. So it's like a safety thing. And then also, to keep the victims alive. In the case of Idaho, not dissimilarly to Pike County, that trial still lies ahead. The Idaho trial looks like it probably will be set for next year. That's a long time for the general public to lose sight of the lives and the humans that were lost. And it's important that we keep them alive because people should be mad as hell.
Yeah, be mad. Voice it. Be mad. Don't sit and think that they won. No one's won yet. No one has won a single thing until that day. And that's another thing is that feeling if and when justice comes is a feeling no one will ever understand that they've not had to be through. You might cry, you might scream, and if you feel you need to do that, do it.
In the Piketon, Ohio case, 3 of the 4 accused murderers have been found or pled guilty. One member's trial is still upcoming.
When we got the partial justice that we have, I mean, I was pregnant at the time, but if I could have been out in my yard jumping around and popping bottles, I would have done it. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many emotions that come with that part too. You have all this grief, and then this happens, and it's like you just can't contain it. It made me feel like we accomplished something. It wasn't, and no, it doesn't bring them back. That was one hard feeling I had. It doesn't bring them back, but they got the justice they deserved.
What would you say? Would you have any words of advice to anyone who's gone through this level of trauma or some level of trauma, whether that's they're a victim of a violent crime or someone they love very deeply is the victim of a violent crime? Or in your case, too, you had it in both sides because you knew the victim and the perpetrator well. That's also equally scary. You shared space with someone, you were texting with someone in the days after the murders who was like, I have no idea. Hopefully they find the killer. Meanwhile, you're the killer by your own admission. Do you have any advice for anyone who's just kind of stuck in their head and doesn't have anyone to speak to about their feelings? How do you process?
I mean, you're not alone. When this happened with Hannah and the rodents, I felt alone, and it took me a while to realize I wasn't alone. Always reach out. Reach out to anybody that you trust, anyone that you're comfortable with. Take your time. It's all about your time. Like, it's all about time. Do not think you're alone. You can always reach out, even if it's me, anyone could ever reach out because I've been in it. I don't care if it would be 3 in the morning. Like, please call, but I needed that person. And so instead of moping around thinking, oh, I really wish I had somebody, I want to be that person for somebody. So there's anything. That's all I can really think to say is just you're not alone.
You've now enrolled in school to become a social worker and a victim's advocate. And we all like to believe that in some part it is because you shared so much on the case that, people really were touched in a way that can't quite be described, myself included. And I think we all get to heal with you. And I think now that's obviously a calling for you. If people want to connect with you, you can send us any emails or any information via the KT Studios website, and we'll make sure that it gets to you. And obviously, now that you've gone to school, you're like legitimately becoming the exact thing that you needed. Is pretty magical stuff. And I can't help but think that that's Hannah Gilley at play as your guiding light a little bit.
Let's stop here for another break. We'll be back in a moment. Here again, Stephanie.
You were dead on about survivor's guilt, and that's something that we're kind of unpacking a little bit in this. There were 2 surviving roommates at the time of the Idaho massacre. And it's really a big topic that gets me a bit fired up because I've read a lot of chatter online, and there's been a lot on TikTok and in various online silly sources that kind of give the roommates a lot of slack. They're like, "Whoa, why didn't the roommates call 911? And why did it take 9 hours to finally get authorities there?" And while I understand that theoretically, it really lacks a level of empathy, because until you know what happened, and really nobody does at this point, that night, one of the roommates allegedly saw the accused, Bryan Kohberger, going down the hallway, and she identified him to have bushy eyebrows. At that moment, he would have been covered in complete blood and likely would have just murdered 4 people. You don't expect there to be a killer in the hallway, right? You don't think, oh, this must be a mass murderer. We don't know. We don't know what it's like to be in that situation. And we certainly shouldn't throw stones at 2 people who have really survived something so horrible and likely are really suffering. This is an assumption. I don't know them, but survivor's guilt is what comes to mind.
You don't know how fast that passing by was. In our heads, it's slow-mo. Oh, here's this guy walking by. She's looking. In your head, when you don't know the actual setup, you weren't there. In my head, it's like a slow motion picture, like a movie. But how fast did they go by each other? How dark was it in the hallway? How do you know what was on them? I mean, yeah, they're probably drenched in blood, but that's not something you see on a regular basis. So you're not going to look for that. You're not going to notice it, probably, especially if it was dark. Being college students, who knows who would be coming in and out? There's so many different scenarios in that. Shock does crazy things to you. And now knowing what they know, I couldn't imagine being that person who, now knowing and feeling like you didn't do something. Even though you didn't know what was going on, it's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault besides the person who did it. So don't feel that guilt. That is that survivor's guilt, is I could have done something, I should have done something, and I didn't, but I also didn't know what was going on. And how could you?
How could you? Like, the brain is not committed to understanding something so violent. It's so outside our realm that that's not what you probably connect that dot very easily.
And you're at home, you think you're safe.
You think you're safe. Yeah, that's very true. And for people to,
especially the Pike County, I mean, there was 8 of them. There's stronger in numbers. Like, I mean, there was 8 of them that was taken out in one night. I mean,
please show some empathy that whoever has survived this, that's a long journey ahead. And you have this guilt that, why them, not me? Or how does my life go on? It's such a mind screw.
Or they should be here. Why am I here but not them? Why wasn't I one that they took? There's so much that goes with surviving something like this. There's a lot.
And our hearts go out to them as well. And we would kind of encourage people to do so as well. If anything, they just need healing thoughts their way. Yeah, anything that you would say for any of the college students or yeah, anybody who maybe brushed paths. We interviewed very recently one of the accused students because he was a teacher's assistant and she was in his class in the days leading up to the murders and the days after. If what he's been accused of is true, and again, he's claiming innocence, if what is being said is accurate, then he went to class the next day and was still participating. And that a little bit makes me think of Jake Wagner, you know?
Kind of hits home right now.
Hits home. Yeah. And I was curious if you had something because, again, the accused now convicted Jake Wagner in the Pike County murders. You spoke with him and connected with him right after the murders.
I did. I told him if he needed anything, and he told me, I just don't know how I'm going to go on. I don't know how I'm going to tell my daughter that, her mom is no
No,
longer
Nash,
here.
this is someone else.
After finding out about Jake and then talking to him, it's kind of like oh my goodness, like, wow, you played it so well. You played everybody.
Yeah, you sick son of a, you know what? So did all of the Wagners, if you guys remember the Wagner case, I thought that we were still waiting on one of the Wagners to go to trial. I thought there was still one. Let me know if you guys remember. I mean, if not, I can look it up, but because I thought there was one still about to go on trial.
Not everyone is like that. Not everyone would be able to do that. So someone that's able to come in and act like nothing is wrong, or to know what they did and act like nothing is wrong, they are sick and twisted.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the victims' families or friends?
I mean, I'm sorry. It's not easy to go through. And you guys are not alone. Sorry, a little emotional, but you're not alone. And don't ever feel like you are. And I know there's going to be days that it's so hard. It's so hard to get up, and it's so hard to go on, and it's going to be so hard to just live. I get it. And I get that there are days that you want to just go to where this person is and destroy their life, but there is some good in the system. I hope and I pray that you guys get the justice you guys need and deserve. Even though it doesn't bring them back, that justice is good and it feels good. And my biggest thing is you're just not alone, because for the longest time I felt alone, and it took me a long time to realize I wasn't. So even though it's been 8 years, that day is still so fresh to me. So I know how you guys feel.
8
I've
years.
been there, still working on it to get better. Even though it doesn't seem like it, and it seems like, gosh, this is I'll never be the same. You might not, and that is okay. But you will find a whole new you from this.
Can you tell me one quick story about Hannah Gilley? But just in her honor, is there anything that immediately comes to mind?
There's a country song that says her long blonde hair, and that she loved that song because it was long blonde hair. So now every time I hear that, I think of her. And sometimes I'll be listening to like a station that doesn't play country music, but then that song comes on. I'm like, all right, Hannah. I'm like, I miss you too.
I love to see you smile, and I'm so stinking proud of you. You are a real inspiration.
That's cute. I think that was our first case that they covered. So I did look it up. And so it said, the headline was Rodin family outraged after trial gets continued for fourth and final suspect in Pike County massacre. Yeah, I would be ticked too, because this happened back in like 2016 or something, 2018. Let's see. It says that they have to wait until January 2025 before Billy Wagner goes on trial. Almost 9 years it'll be. Wow. And that's the oldest. That's the father. It was the mother, the father, and their two kids, their two boys. And she thought she was slick too. Whenever I first heard about the Gog Misfits and Tiffany Adams, I thought of Wagner's, the mom, because she bought the clothing for them. She bought the shoes for them. I think cell phones, burner phones in that case too. Wagner, yeah, last name Wagner. So Wagner's against the Rodens. The Wagners killed the Roden family off, like the whole family, like 8 of them. We should get into that case. I should show you some stuff about that. That's a really interesting case. Like when that happened, I mean, I was like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm from the state, but I was like, what? And then they were like, they were saying something about they might have been like chicken fighting, having like cockfights or something. And they were talking about, what else was it? Like something else. And I was just like, what? Oh, marijuana, like their marijuana grow up or something. And I'm like, but people don't unalive 8 people off of some marijuana plants. Like, try again. You know what I mean? Like, this is 8 people. Come to find out, it was all because of a custody battle. Just like in the Kansas Moms case, just like Grandma Tiffany. What's the Wagner's? What's her name? Angela. Grandma Angela. Yeah. April's 2016. So it was 2016. Wasn't that the same year as the Boston bombings? Let's see. When was it? – 2013. Okay. Wow. It's already been since 2013. Wow. They're pretty interesting. Thank you, 12 gauge. I appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions over the Idaho case? So Bryan Kohberger goes back to court on the 26th. We'll stream it. I want to see what happens in this new courthouse with this new judge. This new judge, I mean, I'm gonna show you a picture again. He looks like he means business. That's a man to me that means business. He's got his hands doing one thing and his mouth's doing one thing. I mean, he's multitasking. He's getting his point across. And Bryan Kohberger has a new home and a new picture. Maybe their jail uniforms are maroon there because he's got a new shirt on. He was wearing orange before. But I'm glad. I'm glad we got a new judge. I think this is going to be good. I think it's going to be good for the case. I think that Anne's going to be wishing that she didn't want a venue change. I think that it's going to backfire for her in a way. I don't see this judge letting her sit up there and talk for 4 hours straight and arguing one motion for 4 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see it. I see him having more of like a cutoff period. Like, oh yeah, no, it's time to go home. It's 5 o'clock. You know, or hey, we're leaving at 5. It's 4 o'clock. Can you go ahead and wrap this up because I'm going to give you my decision today. That'd be great. One of those, you know. That judge does look like he means business. Yeah, it does look like. Is it the 24th or the 26th that he goes to court? Now I'm like questioning myself. Notice of hearing. 26th. 2 p.m. Stephen Hippler. So far, anyway. I mean, they could go at a different day. You know, but it's going to be a meet and greet. Which, I mean, I guess they have the meet and greet. Couldn't the judge just go down to the jail and be like, "Bring me Kohberger. Hey, Kohberger, I'm the judge. It's going to be overseeing your case." But I guess no. They need the pleasantries. The 26th, yeah. No, but that's what she does usually. That's why. Oh, what was it? Last time we didn't. Was it last hearing we didn't stream? That was like the one we usually stream the hearings, but I am so glad that my inner self was like, don't do it. Because like I saw that there was a bunch of people live and I was like, man, there's not a lot of people in the chats though. You know what I mean? Like, so then I was like, I don't know. And then it ended up being a 6-hour hearing, guys. And we would have been crawling up the walls. And then he didn't give us a decision. I would have been blown. I would have broke a computer monitor. I would have done something. So the trial so far, they're saying everything's going to be live on this They have a YouTube page. I'll put the, let me put the link in the chat again. So this is their YouTube page, just like Judge John Judge had one. Remember, he'll put it on live and then they take it right off after they're done. So that'll be where they stream it through live. But yeah, so they haven't said anything about the summer. Oh, Boone's judge is the best. Judge Cranick, I love him. I love him. He's like, we're not doing this. We're not. You knew what you got yourself into. You got Boone. You got your client off of a flyer, an ad. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait for her trial. I need to go to Florida. You know, I need a vacation. Wonder how far she is from like where my aunt and uncle live. Now, how funny would that be? Yeah, Panda. I want to see. Yeah, I think that Bryan's in the big boy jail now, and he's probably not feeling the same as he felt before. He's not going in as the big dog. You know what I mean? Like, you're coming in as a nobody, really. I mean, you're just like this person that's supposedly did something, but not proven yet. I don't know how that works in jails. I wonder if didn't they say something about Alec Murdaugh getting a new trial? I mean, I said I would never watch another minute of him. 4 days ago, major update. Alec Murdaugh's juror battle to make dismissal public. What? Agreed to hear an appeal filed by Murdaugh's attorneys. Juror number 785? That's how many people they had to go through? You think you start with juror number 1, juror number 2, you know, right? Okay, wow. It says filed a petition to publicize the record of her removal from the jury. Oh, is this the one that was removed because of the eggs? Is she mad or something? That's exactly who it is. So is she like mad? Is she like mad because she got kicked off the jury and they didn't give her her eggs? Because she wasn't leaving without her eggs. Judge Newman's like, sorry, ma'am. You know, I forget. She was talking to the court staff or something. And he's like, I got to let you go. And she's like, not without my eggs. I'm not leaving without my eggs. And we're like, what? I about fell out of my chair. I said, her eggs? In a jury trial? What is going on? Somebody brought in eggs. She said the chicken. The guy with the chicken brought them. Who let the guy through the security with the eggs? Still a question I have. I still have that question. How did they get through security with the eggs? Just, you know. It's crazy. It's crazy, you know. How'd you get the eggs? Why'd you get the eggs? Why are there eggs in a jury trial? I mean, they had to take the guy's picture down, his grandfather's picture. Great granddaddy been up there since 1901 or something. They had to take his picture off the wall. It was a big deal. And then Nancy Grace showed up to court like third day in. No one was there. We watched the first 2 or 3 days of that trial. It was like, I'd rather watch paint dry. It was bad. It wasn't like entertaining at all. Like, it wasn't an entertaining trial. This was before the crying and all the maddening stuff. So then all of a sudden Nancy Grace shows up and I'm like, oh yeah. So then I was watching her and she was making it entertaining because she was like this. She's just staring at Alec Murdaugh, the back of his head for 8 hours that they were in court the whole time. So it was pretty funny to me. And then we'd get like, you know, a lunch hour things from her. So, but yeah, that was a pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. Nancy stare. Yeah, I would have been like, I would have been crying too. You never heard that? Oh yeah, there was nobody there was hardly anybody in that courthouse until I swear Nancy came, and that's when people came. I don't know if it's because of Nancy, but that's just when people came. Like people started coming. I was like, oh look, they're starting to fill up. They really never were completely filled for it being like for it being like the trial of the century or something. You know, it seemed like it was supposed to be like the best things in sliced bread that was supposed to be going on, and all we got was snot, tears, and a couple. You know, couple one-liners. It's chicken. What? And then Paw, Mags, stuff that he didn't even ever use, words he didn't use. Now I call my dog Mimi. Her name's Mia. I call her Mimi because of Alec Murdaugh. Oh, thank you, Ladybug. Thank you for the $9.99. That's so sweet. Thank you for your great channel. Love you, chat. Oh. We should go back over that case. That Alec Murdaugh case. I had a video. Okay, I had a video on my channel, and up until like 2 weeks ago, you have like a thing where like every like your top 3 videos will be like in this little area and your like analytics. He was in my 3 videos, like my most popular for like a year almost or something. I'm like, what is so great about this documentary about Alec Murdaugh? I don't know. I think it's because Paul, it's probably, or not Paul, but Buster spoke. So maybe that's why. But it says that the ex-husband said, what? I don't know. We have to read through that sometime, but it was the lady with the eggs. I don't know. She probably feeling some type of way. I would have left when she showed up. I would have, not me. I'd be like, I'll tell you whatever you want to hear, Nancy. She's scary. Yeah, yeah. The crying wasn't Nash. We didn't believe it for a second. When they came into trial and they said we got to add a witness to the list here, you know, we want to call Paul's best friend to the stand, and we want to use his Snapchat video because he has it recorded of Alec there the night that he said he wasn't there. You could have heard a pin drop. Now that was a Perry Mason moment. Like what? What video? What? That's probably when Nancy got on the plane. I would have too. I should have went there, Nash. Should have went to should have went down to South Carolina and sat next to her. Been like, can we be cool? I could bring my cardboard, Nancy. Do I think he did? No, Panda. I don't think he did. Stephen. I don't think that he did Stephen. Now, the cleaning lady, I think she may have had an accident, but I do believe that they tried to cover maybe up like what exactly happened, or like so that they weren't liable. Do you know what I mean? I think they were trying to think of a way for them not to be liable. And then I don't know if Maggie just put her trust into, you know, Alec that he was going to take care of that. But those boys deserved those millions that they should have got, you know, and Alec just took that money from them kids. They didn't even know they had money, you know, money there waiting for them. Like that was their money. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, they paid him off, but they didn't pay him. Yeah. We'll give you like, was it like 40,000 or something? I forget what they did. They gave him something stupid. It was like, they should have got like 3 million. And don't you tell me for 1 second that he was popping 150 freaking Oxys a day either. That's what he was saying on the stand. I was taking like a handful of them. Sir, no. You weren't taking that many. But I wish the Stevens family would get justice. I thought that they were going towards a conclusion in his case for some reason. No, not compared to that's your parent passing, not, take all the money. Yeah, that's what he was saying though. He was saying that though. He was like, I was taking like so many. I mean, it was like 150. I don't remember exact number, but I want to say that. I want to say it was that high. Like it was to the point where it was like, dude, you'd be dead. Like, you know what I mean? Even if you've been on these for a long time, like there's no way. But I do think he had a problem. I don't think he had that big of a problem. I still want to know about the Gucci receipt and the trash can. We never got any answers on that. We never got an answer on that. I don't know if it was if it was Alex, or if it was Alec buying it for another woman, or if it was Maggie bought something from Gucci, but it was something that was only $1,200. So something $1,200 from Gucci is like a belt, a scarf. You're not going to get anything like too big there, I wouldn't think, for $1,200. Maybe some shoes, maybe. I don't even think you'd be able to get shoes. No, she's back. I see ya. Damn it. The money at Mag's Paw. The boating accident. I forgot about the boating accident. Wow. That's what kind of started everything, I feel like. Are they? Shoes in a bag are under 1,000? I didn't think a bag would be. I thought it would be more. I'm not a Gucci kind of gal. I'm just reading the chat. Oh. They're 1,000? Okay. Bags are 700. I guess it's not too bad then. I wouldn't spend that much. I mean, I might. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't, but I have spent a lot on a bag before. And you know where those bags are? They're not with me. They're not. So maybe I wouldn't spend it on that. I'd probably, if I had $700, I would probably take the $700 and go buy like a $20 bag and then put the rest of the money in there. My mom used to tell me that when I was younger. She's like, you're going to have all these really pretty bags, but you're not going to have any money to put in them. She was right. I'm like, she was right. She was so right. She was so right. Now that I'm older, though, I don't know. I have what do I have? I don't know what kind of bag it is. It's like just a regular old. It's like a name brand, but it's not like a super popular one. I can't even remember what it is. And I like it. I have a couple bags. That's all I need. I'm trying to minimize my stuff. Yeah, no, wasting all the money on the cheap ones. Look at me. I'm like, buy a cheap bag. Nash is like, invest in a good one. No, you probably should invest in a good bag. If it's like leather, you can keep it clean, or you can have it, redone. My bags are good. Like, they're good brands. I just can't think of the name. It's really making me upset because I can't think of the name. Like my one bag is just like a saddle bag. It's a men's Coach bag. It's a men's bag for my computer and stuff. But I have another bag. I just can't think of the name of it. It's a women's bag. You have a problem with purses, Pan? I used to have a problem with that. Now I have a problem with clothing that I don't wear. I have a problem collecting clothing. I have all the sizes. I just don't have the size that fits me anymore. keep getting just a little bit above that, that size. We have a whole storage. It's filled with all the stuff this isn't any stuff from my store. My stuff from my store is here and then in our storage. But like this storage here is just for my clothing. And then I think Vincent has like 2 totes in there. I don't know I don't know what's all in there. I'm like, I might need something. And they drag you out of the store as soon as they see you in the purse. Nice bags are nice to have, though. Especially if you use the same one. I use the same one over and over. Because I hate switching out bags. Mine's just all leather. It's just all, there's no C's on it. There's no letters. I'm a plain person. Like my other bag is black leather. It's just black leather. And then I have like a shoulder bag that's like, those little shoulder pouches. It's leather. Like I like leather stuff because then it just lasts longer. I don't know if like it's real. It's probably real leather. And Vincent got me my last purse and wallet. He got it for our 30-year anniversary, I think. He got me 3 things from there or something like that. I don't know. It was something cute. Yeah, that's what we were covering. I'm about to get off here now. We were just kind of chit-chatting. I need to get a nice new jacket. That's what I need. I need a fall jacket. I need to get that for my friend's wedding. She's going to have us all outside, I think. So, but I'm going to jump off of here. I'll be back on tomorrow evening. Tomorrow, maybe during the day, but tomorrow evening for sure. And I don't know. We'll talk about something. There's plenty of things to talk about. I got all these open tabs. There are so many things that we can go over. Maybe we'll do like a day where we do like a few different cases or something. Let me go over. I always like to just check Twitter before I let you go. You never know. I don't know what that is. What is this? Sarah Boone. Oh my God. Appears on Nickelodeon 1992. That's a Sarah. That's Sarah Boone in 1992. Oh my God. Oh, I just hit the mother load. Okay. They better not. If they yank my live down for playing this video, I will die because it's probably not even that long. But let me see. Let me see how long it is. Okay. It's 57 seconds and you're going to see her. I just reposted it on my Twitter too. So if you want to go over, you can always look on it over there. But look at this. This is Sarah right here. Okay. I probably watched this because in the 90s, I was 7 at this age. I was always watching Nickelodeon and that kind of stuff. So let's see. Sarah Boone appears on Nickelodeon 1992 game show is Nicely Pegged Jeans. She lost 50 points due to poor gameplay, but recently gained a team of lawyers and is requesting hair and makeup for her upcoming murder trial amid tech issues. Yeah. Let's see.
Your partner there, Sarah, likes to hang out at the mall. Now, what do you do while you're just hanging at the mall, Sarah?
Well, check out guys and spend money.
Check out.
I could watch this all day. Check out guys and spend money.
The dudes and spend the cash. Your cash or like parents' cash?
Mine.
Hers.
Come on back, because when you come back and we come back, John and Sarah heading into the zone. They're gonna try.
Okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Yeah. Oh, Nickelodeon was, but we all wanted to be on Nickelodeon at the same time. Well, no, that's new. But I know every day after school, I was watching these game shows with the kids. I don't know. I can't remember a name. Double Dare was one. I can't really remember the names, but I remember now. Sarah Boone, you could tell in her face. You got to look at her face, but you're like, whoa, wait, that is her. What happened to your hair, Sarah Boone? Look at those fluffy locks you used to have. How'd you? Maybe she dyed it here. That's Sarah, yeah. Look at this guy. I mean, how much did he get paid to be that cheesy, right?
Likes to hang out at the mall.
Okay. I gotta hear her say that again.
Your partner there, Sarah, likes to hang out at the mall. Now, what do you do while you're just hanging at the mall, Sarah?
Well, check out guys and spend money.
Check out the dudes and spend.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's just perfect. That's just perfect. Check out the dudes and spend money. Surely not try to choke them while they're walking upstairs or put them in suitcases. Surely not those. Wow. If you guys want to watch more of this, I did retweet it on my Twitter, so it's there for your consumption. Wow. Sarah Boone. This is great. This is great. I might have to put this on a short video for tomorrow. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I'm glad we could at least have a laugh at the end, because I mean, look at this. Look at her. Sarah, you've seen better days. I mean, I guess we all have. We all have. I mean, you put me in 4 years ago, I probably look like a whole different person too. Maybe she won a suitcase. No, I shouldn't say that. But let's see who did find it. Phil Foss. I don't know. I don't follow him, I don't think. I should, though. Do I follow him? No, but we're going to start. Because that's just, I mean, that's just worth it right there. Oh, and there's the full episode. Is this the full one? Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to put this in the chat. Okay, this is the full 3 minutes and 49 seconds if you guys want to go watch it. I don't want them to get me. They might get me on the copyright or something, I don't know. Them Nickelodeon shows. Them dang kids. Rated all. Oh my gosh. No, it wasn't. It probably wasn't. But there were some fun shows. There were some really weird shows, though, on Nickelodeon. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Maybe tomorrow we'll do like an open case live. And then that way you guys can pick whichever we kind of cover. We can cover like smaller case updates or something. But thank you for being here tonight. I do appreciate it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful Sunday. If I don't see you, enjoy the nice weather because it is going to get cold here on the East Coast anyway. Starting next week, it's going to get a little chillier. So get out while you can. Bye, guys.